PFT Media.
They make you consent to the recording now, Mosquito Jones. Zoom used to not tell you it was recording.
Yeah. With a video of them. That'd be a good office treat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that Jeffrey Toobin fella, he got a new job or whatever. Didn't he get the same job back? Are we all familiar with Jeffrey Toobin? Have y'all never heard of the Jeffrey Toobin guy?
What? That sounds familiar.
He was the guy that was beaten off on a Zoom call at work.
Wow,
that's
year.
that guy.
You didn't hear about that?
Yeah.
You know what? I think this is gonna sound bad, but I think it's a white people thing. Because I think he worked for the Times or something, and they was doing the whole story. Supposedly that he was on they were doing a war room, like they're role playing as if it's the 2020 election or whatever, and apparently he said he thought his mic was off, but dude was just completely butt naked, just getting, and he's just.
Did you see it? Who saw it?
Yeah, it leaked. I didn't watch. I mean, I saw like a still of it or whatever, but it's just.
I wasn't looking for it. I just found it.
Exactly. That's one of the things. I'm not gonna go digging deep for it.
I'm looking for it.
But
well, you're honest, Brittany.
he was just. Well, he's not a good looking man. It's not. There's no.
I just want to see what it looks like.
This ain't quite like when that fappening thing happened. I'm like, I won't see that woman naked, but I don't want to see it naked like this. Yeah.
Oh, yep. Well, you can expose us to it, aren't you?
Well, it's blurred, but yes, that's yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. And
all right.
He just got his job back, I think, or got a promotion actually. But
when was this?
It was October.
October 2020. Okay.
Type in his name to a Google News search real quick, Brittany, and I'm half remembering this. I'm half remembering because sometimes when I hear about old white men getting away with things, I just have to stop researching because it gets me too mad that it's just like, I hope I get to be that way when I'm that way, when I'm that old. But also, I hope I'm not trying to get away with shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wait, here's some news headlines.
Oh yeah, he did return. He did return to CNN. Okay.
Yeah. Wait, he's a CNN anchor or something?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what it was. It wasn't the Times. It was CNN. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this fuck from now on. Everybody got questions about it. So, what are you doing when you leave the building today?
Yeah, we know.
The wild part about it is the way he described, like he thought his camera was off and shit, but they were in the middle of like a breakout thing. Like he was supposed to be working. Like he's supposed to be role playing as like one of the Supreme Court judges or whatever, right? Or some shit. Because it's like if you was doing a group project, right, with some people, and you literally just slinked off and you was beaten off on a Zoom call. It's just like, even if you didn't get caught because you just stood up butt naked, bro, you're not supposed to be doing like. I'm pro worker all the way. I am. I really am. I think you should poop at work. I think, you know what I mean? Like it's not time theft. But beating off at work might just be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I
asking for trouble? It really is asking for trouble because there's no good scenario that comes from that. Either you have to wash your hands and be distracted for a while, or you don't because something else interrupted you.
Either way, it's gross.
Yeah. Rolling dice that are loaded against you. Like, don't play the game.
Yeah.
Play a little bit. Get a break. Lunch break is 30 minutes.
I guess. I mean, if you work from home and you don't have to have, if you work from home, you don't have colleagues around or whatever, you're on the clock, do it to it, get you, do you, boo. But like, I'm just thinking like you work at I knew construction workers sometimes sneak off on a porta potty, do it in the middle of the day. And that dude was one of the weirdest men I ever met in my whole fucking life, though. Yes. But I mean, his name was Guts.
Porta potty. Sorry to interrupt, but how do you focus and do that in a porta potty?
Ask any member of the United States Armed Forces that served in Iraq or Afghanistan or anywhere else.
Wait, that's a good time.
Trust me, it's a whole thing with them, friend. They don't have any qualms about doing it in porta potties, friend.
Warzone diddling is a different story now.
That's true. That is true. A Warzone thing is different. Although Bagram Air Base is basically the same thing as Titusville. They both have the same number of fucking subway franchises. You're also just likely to be mortared in like Titusville or Melbourne, Florida, as you are in fucking Bagram now. But
that's fair. That's fair.
That's just Florida, man, for you. Guts was fucking. Guts was an individual, man. He was a wild guy. We called him Guts because he wore shorts that he cut some jeans and the shorts to work on the roof, and he cut them like most of the pocket was hanging out. That's how tight these shorts were. Dang. And the bit was we could see up into his guts when he was wearing them shorts.
Oh my God.
So if you wonder where I get my humor from, I mean, that's the kind of shit I was doing when I was 12. I'm hanging out with a man named Guts. And he didn't have his front teeth. They were missing, and he had a scraggly beard, and he didn't have the front teeth. And but man, that guy could lay some shingle, man. God damn, he was fast as shit on a roof. But
when you're good at your job, can't nobody talk shit about you. You can wear Daisy Dukes on the job when you that damn good.
Honestly, that's pretty much was my mother's argument for that. But he lived with me too, so I shared a bedroom with him when we lived in this tiny house. I don't grow up from money, and I have a very, my life has been a cavalcade of just the look on your face, man. Like he was one of the best roommates I ever had in that house. Like, so when I was in middle school, I'm from a small census designated place that's part of Orlando's greater metro area, Mosquito Jones, friend. And it's called Union Park, right? And I'm specifically from a neighborhood called Park Manor. And Park Manor is not necessarily the best neighborhood in the world, right? Technically, the Orange County Crime Task Force in the early 2000s, the late 90s, considered to be a high crime area. You weren't supposed to go there when you're on probation and shit, because you weren't supposed to hang out with known felons and shit. But it's not that bad. But, I mean, they did bulldoze 2 crack houses, which was fucked up they did that because, I mean,
now the crackheads elsewhere.
Well, yes, literally. My uncles and them literally just went to the woods behind the elementary school. It was a whole thing. Hell, the reason why I'm even famous in town on the radio or whatever is because the uncles that was living behind the elementary school, one of them went missing, and another crackhead found the foot in the river because she recognized the shoe, and that's why because he'd been missing for a while, and she was bathing, and a shoe floated up, and she said, "That's Alan's shoe." So she called the cops, and they came out. They ended up DNA testing the fucking foot to his daughter. And
wait, was that's your uncle?
Yeah, Uncle Alan. That was the one that look. I gotta laugh about it because otherwise, that's
horrifying.
Have you not ever heard that story, Brittany?
I have not heard that story.
All right, so
I've heard Uncle Alan too.
All right, so I got 3. My mom was the youngest of 6 kids, right? And she had 3 brothers. Alan's the oldest. Tommy is the youngest, and then there's Randy, right? All 3 of them ended up being crackheads. But to describe them, it is very much 3, it's cartoon characters. But Tommy, the fat one, he's about 5'2" and weighed about as much as me. I weigh about 430 pounds. The man was so fat his shin split open, like the front of his shin. But he would not die. That man would not die. He smoked crack out of his tracheotomy tube after he escaped from a convalescent home after a stroke. He used to salt his water, friend.
I remember
that motherfucker would salt his water. Salt water is poisonous to humans, Mosquito Jones. You're not supposed to drink salt water. He'd salt his tap water. He was the most hateful fucking man I ever met in my whole life. And the first time he went to prison, one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my whole life happened. The second time he went to prison, because the cops, first time they came to arrest him for trafficking shit, they sent the SWAT team. They hopped the neighbor's fence. We lived next door to these Jehovah's Witnesses, and they hopped the Jehovah's Witnesses fence with machine guns. I was out back, and I was like, Randy, I'm pretty sure there's guys with machine guns out back, and it was an MP5, so technically it's a submachine gun, right? So, but they'd come to arrest Tommy, and they couldn't wake him up. He was just this giant fucking fat man, just this giant, just a tiny little, he was like 5 foot, right? Imagine Brittany, but just pouring all of me into Brittany's skin. He was just hateful as fuck, right? So,
Damn.
And they sent the SWAT team to arrest him. They don't need to do that. They think he's going to be violent. He's dead, by the way, so it's fine to laugh at him. He can't sue us or nothing. But so the second time they came to arrest him, right? They had done a sting and shit. It was a little different. They just sent 2 plainclothes detectives, and one of them brought a literal cattle prod, right? So they fucking came in with a fucking cattle prod and fucking tased him awake with a fucking cattle prod the second time. I remember my fucking granddad yelling because they had wiretapped the house, and my granddad was like, "You fucking was dealing dope on the house phone." My granddad doesn't have a Southern accent. He didn't have a Southern accent, but he was like, even in Goodfellas, they didn't use the house. You're not supposed to use the house phone. You don't even watch the movies, Tommy, you stupid fuck. Which that shit always cracked me up. But so he's the fat one. Alan was an athlete in high school, was probably going to get out of the poverty and all that shit, but he blew out both his knees, and he was a kicker. He was a football kicker and real good in Niceville, Florida. But and then he learned to kick with the other knee. And one time he was running and he hit a low power line, and both his knees had to be replaced before he was 18, and he was never able to kick a ball again.
Damn.
So his whole life got ruined, right? Because he was a really good kicker, man. And kickers can live. Kickers get in the NFL, man. They're up there for fucking 40 years because you don't never get hit. And he even said because he wanted to play football, but he didn't like to get hit. But so he's the one that went missing. He was the oldest, but Randy, he's the youngest of them, and he's the most industrious. He's the one that set up the crack timeshares out there in the woods behind his trailer park next to the elementary school by the neighborhood I'm from. Because after Hurricane Charlie came, my family was into roofing. Well, my mother was an unlicensed contractor, right? So we was just rich and shit all of a sudden after Hurricane Charlie, right? And she had made us move 49 squares of shingles. I don't know if you know how much that is, but it was different squares of different colors. It was about 10 different colors, of very rare and obscure colors of shingles. And we told her this is literally 2 days before Hurricane Charlie, is going to hit Florida, is announced as a thing. We were telling her, no one's ever going to want a burgundy red wine 3-tab architectural Owens Corning shingle. Why are we doing this? And then Hurricane Charlie came, and they only made black shingles for fucking a year, right? Because then 4 hurricanes came in a row. So she was able to do these tiny little repair jobs and shit. It was wonderful, and we stopped. That literally made me stop doubting her lies a little bit because the pathological ironess of her. But Randy, when Hurricane Charlie came, my grandparents' house that they lived in, my grandparents had to move in with us. So we ended up living with my brother, me. There's 2 Puerto Rican fellas I knew from growing up who was staying there for a little while. My Aunt Jory, who's not really my aunt, she's just this Jewish woman that lived down the street and had to move in with us after getting into this abusive relationship. And then there was Tomo, who was my uncle, and I'd have to get up and drive him to work before I went to high school. So I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to drive him to work because he worked separate from us because he had actual skills. And then my stepdad, JR, my mom, my brother, grandma and granddad, right? All moved into the house. So, but my grandparents' house that they had their base operations on, had to get sold, so they had to go live in the woods. Well, Randy found a spot by the Econ River down here, and he put down other tent spaces. He'd get other tents and he'd rent them out to other crackheads for a piece of their daily crack. Whatever they brought in, he'd have to get a little piece of it, right? So that's where Randy, Alan, and Tommy are all living in the woods. It's a whole family unit out there in the woods, right? Well, Alan goes missing, and my aunt calls my granddad, and they're starting to pressure us to go look for him. And I'm like, he's a crackhead. It's not unheard of for a crackhead not to be heard from him for a week. You know what I mean? I don't want to sound cruel, y'all, but crackheads aren't the most reliable people for check-ins of things. You know what I mean? You can kind of always just count on a crackhead to be a crackhead, which is unpredictable and dangerous, honestly. But but they tell me he left all his pills there and his reading glasses. So, because my uncle, he's the one that got me with my spirit, my intellectual curiosity. Because we used to listen to Coast Art Bell late at night. Because at one point in time, he was living on the porch at that house where I lived with Guts, where Guts was my roommate. Because we had it was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and we had 10 grown men living there, plus my mom and my little brother. And it was like 600 square feet. It was a tiny ass fucking house. And it was actually next door to the house that my dad moved in after he left my mom while we were on vacation and got the house evicted. So I had to live next door to the house that my dad had lived in. That was a whole mess there, but it was weird. But Alan was living on the porch because we didn't have any room in the house anymore. So he was living on like the floor to like the screen in front porch. But so getting back to him going missing, he goes missing and they go, you got to go out there and go look for him. Right. And I'm like, do I though? Do I? But Granddad's like, no, you got to go look for him. And I'm like, all right. So I go out and I show up, and I wasn't wearing overalls at the time. I was still back when I was dressed nice and shit. And I show up and I'm wearing like Kenneth Cole reaction loafers, and I'm dressed a little bit like an undercover cop when it comes down to it, because I drove a Mercury Grand Marquis with dark tinted windows and no rims, mostly so I could run up on people and they would think I was a cop that were doing bad things anyways, and they wouldn't automatically, never mind. I'm talking too much about the old Big Tim and not Uncle Tim from TikTok or whatever, right? But so
story.
Yeah, so I get out there, right? And I get to the spot, and it's again, it's next to an elementary school behind a trailer park that's a very rough trailer park. Recently they pulled out about 5 or 6 years ago, they did this big sting there and pulled out $250,000 worth of heroin from this little trailer park, which, cops can do the street price like 3 or 4 times as high, but that's still a shit ton of heroin for that place where them trailers are like $1,000. You know what I mean? Like, you don't buy them trailers, you get handed them down because nobody transfers. It's a gross, disgusting place. But so I go out there and I'm walking down this path, and I see 3 big ass pit bulls running straight at me, barking loud as fuck. And I didn't bring my pistol with me because I was like, you know what? It's not always best to bring a gun with you because sometimes it'll lead to escalation. And I started thinking to myself, I'm going to get killed by pit bulls because I left my gun in the car because I was going to worry about offending crackheads. Right? But then I say, hey, I'm just looking for Alan. I'm Tommy and Randy's nephew. And that's when, I shit y'all not, this fucking dude materializes out of the goddamn underbrush and says, why didn't you say something? And he calls off the fucking dogs. And he tells me, next time you come, you're supposed to yell incoming so we know you're not a cop. And I said, well, I was yelling, hey, anybody there? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you could have been a cop.
Yeah, listen, I wasn't mad at him. I had fucked up. Listen, I should have actually called my little brother who was still alive, and I should have found out the protocols to go out there. But
wouldn't a cop that's been surveilling them know to show incoming?
What? No, not necessarily. This is the homeless camp is not the trailer park. I'm not going to the trailer park. I'm going to the homeless camp in the woods behind that trailer park.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm pulled up, but that trailer. I'm just telling you that the trailer park actually, at the time Alan went missing, that trailer park wasn't so bad yet. What actually led to that trailer park getting worse was my Uncle Randy's presence behind it. Because my Uncle Randy was kind of like a corrupting presence, like Sauron in the fucking Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Just corruption. Because that man is one of the most industrious men I ever met in my life, right? And very charming, very smooth and shit. But he really likes crack cocaine. You know what I mean? Like, he really likes crack. But that dude, man, he used to get the fucking paper delivered out there.
To the homeless?
To the fucking campsite, yeah.
Not the homeless, the crackhead camp, yeah.
Yeah, the campsite. He'd get the fucking paper delivered. They'd throw it over the fence. They throw it over the trailer park's fence when they delivered to somebody in the trailer park. And he had a literal subscription to it. I went out there one time to visit him after Alan had went missing. After we'd found him or whatever, we found his foot. And that motherfucker had canned Coca-Cola that was ice cold in the woods, mind you. He had hamburgers, hot dogs, and 2 different side dishes. And I was like, damn, Randy, you putting on a fucking show for us? He's like, no, this is how we eat every day.
How? What the fuck?
The crackheads steal it and they get food stamps, they get to church, and he paid very, very few pennies on the dollar for people's food stamps.
Yeah.
And they use the food stamps they had food and shit all the time. But so I go out there, the guy with that materializes, getting back to this story that we've not let our guests talk more than a minute on here.
I'm having a revelation right now because that sounds like point to point exactly like several people I grew up with.
All right. So it makes you. I think it makes you understand why we like each other so much. If we're not even knowing.
Yeah.
Like that it's that capitalist crackhead energy. Like I need $50 to get high today. I'm gonna make 7,000 and then spend 6,000 of it on bail.
Yeah,
dude. Randy
exactly.
Randy's most industrious because they do landscaping for the dope man, and they get paid half in cash, half in rock, right? And he'd been working for the same. There were the 2 dope men in town, and I'm not gonna say their names. So I think at least one of them is back out and still working, and the other one I think is dead. But either way, we'll call them D1 and D2, right?
Okay.
But D1 and D2 both upstanding guys, but also I think the only black people that were around some of my uncles. Period. But I remember D1. If my uncles would sell anything that belonged to my grandparents, they'd call my mom and offer a chance to us buy it back, like it was sentimental or whatever, right? And he'd do it for the price that he paid for the rock, not what he paid dollar-wise value. So we're getting a pretty good deal on getting our stuff back, to be honest with you. Like, I really can't fault the man. Like, I think I've lost both of you at the retail prices of crack versus the wholesale prices.
You did.
It's a significant discount. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, but he give it to them in a dollar value, and we'd buy it back from him for what he paid for the rock that he used. You know what I mean? So he might pay $2 for a 20. Or $5 for 20, depending on how it worked out or whatever. And so he'd charge us $5 for the, it almost be like using coupon. It's I know it's convoluted shit, but he was a good dude.
He basically transferred the savings to you.
Well, he would feel bad that he bought stolen stuff, so he'd get his money back, but we get the stuff back. You know what I mean? But since he's not paying full price, he gives them it's worth 20 to them, but it's worth 5 to him. So, he'd go, I'll give you $80 worth of rock for it, and we'd buy it back for 20. You know what I mean? He'd give so he'd eat the profit on this, but only on sentimental things. Like if it's a power tool, you ain't getting that shit back. That shit's just gone. You know what I mean? But I mean, shit. But Alan, so he one time he returned all the material to replace the screen porch after a hurricane because he had the same name as my granddad. So, me and Alan had a complex relationship because, again, crack makes them do things to get crack. But so, dude materializes. He's got a machete knife strapped to his thigh, the dude that materializes, and he calls the dogs off. And then his partner pops up from behind him because there's another crackhead that was with him. And the thing is, I'm not inexperienced about being in the woods and being like around people hiding and shit. But that dude with the fucking knife was really good at hiding in the woods. You know what I mean? Like he was like
Navy SEALs crackhead.
Well, not that good. The dogs were very distracting. The dogs did play a big part in the distraction, but he got very close to me, creeping up on me when I'm already on a heightened looking for. Because not a lot of crackheads try to hide, but they try to hide, and it's almost like children, like kids will be like, if they can't see you, you can't see them, kind of shit.
No, yeah.
And this is going to sound very insensitive to crackheads, but crackheads have done so much wrong to me in my life. I get to be a little insensitive to them, you fucking weirdos. If you can see a crackhead, they're not that dangerous. I get nervous when I can't see them, but I know they're there like a fucking shark. You know what I mean? If you stay in front of me, I generally know your motivations. I generally know, you know what I mean? But when you get them, because I've not been in a lot of fights with people that wasn't my brother, but I beat up on fucking crackheads. You know what I mean? But I've never considered that a fight because we was beating up on crack. So, sometimes it doesn't count. crack ravages the body. But so the tracker dude, who I later find out is a paranoid schizophrenic, which I'm not nervous about him being a paranoid schizophrenic with a knife and shit, because that's the shit in TVs where they say those people are violent. Like, that dude's voices didn't tell him to kill people. They almost never tell people, but it like told him to hide shit. So, you know, I'd tell that story, and like this one white girl I knew freaked the fuck out about that. I was like, no, that just meant I honestly felt more safe that I knew that's why he lived out there. He lived out there because he was crazy, not because he was a crackhead. You know what I mean? He just happened to be a crackhead because he's medicating and all or whatever. But like, you know what I mean? Does that make any sense to either of you? Both of you got this like.
I think so.
Look, it just.
Story, dude. I'm sorry, I'm fascinated. I kind of know what the Navy SEAL crackhead's partner is doing now.
I don't know what that other one's doing. That other one was one of the superfluous ones. They're probably not. But so the ones like you want
know by your radar is the part that got me. Like,
the little one was literally he was smaller and literally right behind the guy. I mean, I'm talking. He jumps up and he's like he was in the wake of the other ones. You know what I mean? Like yeah. And he's like, it was. I swear to God, man. I promise you, if I'm lying, I'm dying. This is how this fucking went. And the one dude, he goes, "Do you want to see where the trail went cold?" And I was like, "Bro, I am not a tracker, but sure, I guess." You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just here to like confirm that like his bike is here, his books are here, and his meds are here, and his glasses are here. If all that stuff's here, my uncle didn't like, because crackheads will come up with some of the most elaborate backstories to why things will have happened. Their myth making skills are legendary
for sure.
Because when we were looking for him, which by the way, for a while there, if you were an older white man that was real strung out in Orlando while Alan was missing, I would pull up on you in that Mercury like I was a fucking cop and just I would count that any cop riding by would think I was a cop and wouldn't fuck with me. I pulled up on a sidewalk on a dude like, "Hey," and it was like, "Oh, you're not him." That dude fucking almost shit himself. But I thought it was Alan.
How long did you look for Alan?
About 9 months. It was about 9.
Whoa!
It was like 6-9 months he was missing. Yes. Well, the foot, the shoe, the foot was in the shoe.
I thought I heard that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And it was his foot.
Yeah. So who knows what actually happened? But so he's showing me this trail, and sure enough, basically my uncle was going across this log bridge. At least best we can tell, he's going across this log bridge and just slipped and fell into the river. The banks were higher, and it had been raining that week, right? It was a rainy time, and he probably just fell in there, right? I mean, my brother waterboarded the dude he was going to go see, and I don't think then the dude didn't confess when he was getting waterboarded. Jimmy's dead, so I can tell that story. I don't fucking care. But Jimmy might have been bullshitting, but I'm pretty sure Jimmy did waterboard the fucking guy.
Was this pre or post-military?
This is during. This is when he was on leave. This is when he was on leave from the army.
Oh,
that's how he learned. That's where he learned to waterboard people.
Oh my God.
Because they waterboarded him.
God, Jimmy's a badass.
No, he's not. No, he wasn't. Jimmy was not a badass, but Jimmy was not a badass, but he got some training, which was good for him. But also, you know, I miss my brother every day, but also it's probably for the best that my brother didn't bring those skills that he learned in the army of demolitions and shit back to the neighborhood. You know what I mean?
What do you think? Where do you think Jimmy would be now?
He'd probably be a Facebook conservative that yells in their phone that's a registered nurse that talks about how vaccines are a liberal cancer, and he'd just call people the F word. He'd probably just call people the F word for gay all the time. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He was pretty funny, but very homophobic. But that might be from trauma with him. But either way. But back to the story. So sure enough, like he's going to visit this guy Rusty, who's a fascinating man in of himself. Because Rusty's mama had died in prison. He got a settlement and he squandered all of that money. But he killed a guy that was trying to kill him and got away with it because the guy a crackhead was trying to kill him. So he ended up losing the house because he used to live in the neighborhood across the street. He ended up losing the house and he had to move in to the Kent complex with that Randy had set up. Because Randy had hot water out there. He had a solar shower we got him for Christmas set up.
God damn.
He had refrigeration and he had TV. Like he would watch the Florida State games on the TV out there because they had a generator and a marine battery.
Holy fuck, dude. Randy don't play, man.
Well, listen, I'll be real with y'all. If Florida wasn't so humid, there was a time I would have just moved into that camp to save money.
Yeah.
Straight up. If we lived in the Pacific Northwest, I would have, because it was like 5 minutes from the, like, I could have parked at the trailer park and walked through the fence. Like, it wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I could have, like, but why live in your car when you can live in I can live on the river. He had riverfront campsites set up. And I got pictures of my Facebook. But so, sure enough, the fucking tracker guy takes me to where there's machete mark stop at this log bridge. And he's like, this is where the trail goes cold. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess. And sure enough, his pills were there. And the rumor was that he'd run off and he found the one that hurt the most was it said that Becky, his first wife, that my uncle liked Quaaludes back in the day a lot. Quaaludes was his first obsession, right?
I wish I got to try Quaaludes.
I wish I could too. He said they were fun. He said they were fun. They said that Alan went and found Becky again on the internet and took a bus to New Jersey to go get back with her, or he went and lived in Texas with some chick, and it was like, I think he'd take his reading glasses and his blood pressure pills with him if he was, and he left his muscle relaxers there. Well, the other crackheads took them, but the bottle was there.
But where was this in relation to this bridge you said he crossed? Is that y'all think he fell off the bridge?
Yeah, I'm almost positive he fell off the bridge. He was drunk, and it was a Friday afternoon he went missing. Huh. He was crossing the bridge to get some pills.
Oh. And you think he just fell off?
I mean, probably. It was
drowned or something?
Well, like I said, the river, it's the Little E kind of, it's a little tributary of it. The banks are steep as fuck. I know what it is. I mean, it's steep as fuck.
It's not like he got into a fist fight with a shark in the river.
Exactly. It's not. Yeah. He didn't get in a fist fight with it. He probably just got swept under, and he was an old man at the time. He was in his late 40s or whatever, and he again 2 knee replacements. Old man. For crackheads, his old man.
Okay.
For crackhead, for someone that's been doing crack since crack started, that's a long time. A 20-year crackhead is a long time.
Okay. I'll give you that.
What I lose track of is just how different humanity today is from the rest of everything else in the 4 billion year corpse pile that is Earth's life, history. If you've reached 30, you have outlived the super majority of everything that's lived on this planet.
Oh yeah.
It's insane to think of that.
It's wild to think about. It's wild to think about. There were old people in the Middle Ages. There were just a lot of people just died. People got old, but most people just died because you could just die anything back then. That's why when we found that Jordan Peterson clip of him saying modern medicine's probably hurt more people, where it was like,
like funny. Like Jordan Peterson irritates me because most of his perspective comes from the way the world is right now is the way it's always been mindset.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating as fuck when a grown man who grew up in a society that has technology that lets you look back in time directly pretends that advancements have not been made in just the last few years that cannot possibly have been fathomed 200 years ago. I'm a chill of them. Because Elon Musk still exists and must be destroyed.
Yeah. God, I hate that fucking goddamn South African weirdo so fucking much. I hate him so much. Because he gets credit like he's saving humanity. He just wants to make space slavery.
Pretty much.
He's a handsome jack without the skills. Hilarious. All the way down to the belligerent narcissism and disregard for the well-being of other people who actually care about him. The manipulation of other people to get his work done. How highly he values his own input into a system that he has no interest in. Elon Musk is handsome jack with no skills.
Yeah.
You're the first person to make a Borderlands reference on here, but
that's true.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
We mostly do Star Wars reference, but now you say, yeah. At least Handsome Jack could reprogram the robots in that first one and shit. He could fight and shit. I don't think Elon Musk ever took a punch.
No. Not a day. No way. Never.
There's no way.
There's a guy around in school at least once. He went to school with emeralds in his pocket, like he was daring people to do it. It had to happen at least once. And if it didn't, I'm ashamed of everybody in South Africa that did not rob Elon Musk.
But my counter to you is literally, again, if he'd ever been punched in the goddamn mouth, he wouldn't take emeralds around with him because he'd be like, somebody's gonna punch me in the fucking mouth and take these fucking emeralds from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if there was ever but that dude, what bothers me so much about him is the credit he gets. It's like, you didn't do any of this. You're not even actually an engineer. You bought the company you say you founded, man. Like, the Tesla was famous for having his shit stolen, but Tesla's also a goddamn weirdo who never got laid. So it's hard to trust whatever the fuck that dude was doing anyways. You know what I mean? I don't trust someone that's always been celibate. Which is nothing against ace people or whatever, but if you ain't tried it once, it's like people say they never had coffee or alcohol or anything. It's just like, you've never even had coffee? Y'all ever run into one of those people that say they've never had any of that?
Yeah.
I have actually, but in my defense, they were Mormons and I let them in my house.
Well, okay, well, yeah, that is on you. If you let a Mormon in, that's like a vampire, kind of, but not as bad. I think vampires are worse than Mormons. I think everyone would agree with me, right? Like, if vampires are real, like, but I don't know. I mean, do you count Peter Thiel? Actually, I need to. I don't want to say that. I'm gonna get fucking massive.
I know you've mentioned that guy's name way too much.
I know. He scares the shit out of me. Just there, what the thing he's doing about the blood, right, Jones?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. So you don't know what I'm talking about when I say he's a literal vampire. So they're working on this technology.
I only know little bits and pieces. So go ahead.
Oh my God, y'all! I'm blowing your minds on all kinds of things. So
radicalize me, baby.
They take the platelets of young people, and they're infusing them in there, and it reverses the aging process some. And they're working on literal life extension treatments to live forever. What? They're literally and they're doing
Isn't
this
that
thing
adrenochrome?
now. No, kind of. Google Peter Thiel.
I have Googled
blood.
Peter.
No, Google Peter Thiel blood. Because they're doing this thing, and the way they're getting around the experimentation on it is that they're paying for the blood. They're doing some kind of weird thing, but they're buying blood from people. They're just straight up buying blood from people, and they're working on and he's CIA, like he's
you talking about
his
this
first
guy?
Company.
Peter Thiel wants to inject himself with young people's blood.
That's the guy? Old version. Yeah, that's from 5 years ago.
Oh, but
you picture of him younger, and I'll believe it.
I
don't think we're gonna find it.
I was about to have a lot of questions for you, Tim. Like, buddy, did I walk onto the wrong podcast today? Why did they come prepared for smoke?
But I mean, look at this headline, friend. Can blood from young people slow aging? Silicon. That's the headline, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Like, I have a rule that anytime that something that's being presented starts with a question, especially the headline, like, "Does the Loch Ness monster?" Like, it's a long way to tell me no. Do I have an hour to waste?
Well, in this particular case, are you familiar with manufacturing consent and the whole concept of that? The Noam Chomsky, that they're spending a lot of time to say that they're not taking people's blood to be younger forever like vampires. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stories that have those question mark things. I would be very suspicious if Newsweek kept coming out with articles that said, "Is the Loch Ness monster real?" with a question mark every 4 or 5 years it gets brought up. If anytime lakes got brought up in Scotland, they ran a story talking about how the Loch Ness monster is definitely not real. You shouldn't look for it, and it's a waste of time. I start thinking, well, fuck, man, what's the Loch Ness monster got to do with this?
People are looking for the Loch Ness monster.
They are.
I have a friend who's a Bigfooter.
Well, I just
Don't body shame Sasquatch.
I fuck with Sasquatch. I'm just saying, friend. I think that question mark in there is there to make you think that it's not what they're doing, you know. And I think they're spending a lot of time because if you say out loud, billionaires are taking young people's blood to live to be 120, maybe 150. That doesn't sound good, right? It just doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it's like that's the thing though. If it comes like every time that any kind of presentation starts off with a question, they want an answer, correct? If it starts off with is this quite extreme scenario, what's happening? Then they give a bunch of details, and then at the end, if they say yes, it is, this was evidence. Cool, but most of the time, it isn't what happened.
Oh yeah, they're going for the clickbait with. I feel you, friend. I just they spent a lot of money on blood transfusion companies and all working on this aging shit. He spends a lot of time talking about he wants to be 150.
Yeah. And there's somebody that decided they would use plastic surgery to turn themselves into a cat, and it worked out successfully in theory for them.
That person that turned into the cat doesn't own Panseer, the technology company that steals the private NSA company. You know what I mean? Like, if the person, I just listen. If anybody gets to live to be 150, I'd rather it be like Willie Nelson or Betty White or fucking Bill Cosby to stay in prison for the rest of his fucking life. That goddamn weirdo, or I don't know. You know what I mean? Just something better than fucking the dude that bankrupted Gawker, but also that owns Panseer, the goddamn CIA-backed venture capitalist firm that like.
I'm 100% with you there. There's many people who supposed to live on 150 or more years than dude. I know 3 people at the church I ain't never been to that deserve to live to 150 more than him.
Yeah, me too. Just I don't know. That crackhead guts list deserves to live to be more than 150 than him. Like I just, on the grand scheme of things, just like
I hope Bow Wow lives to be 150 solely so we can keep making fun of him the whole time.
Oh God. Okay, I know a little bit about Little Bow Wow because all right, the airplane picture he did a while back. Remember when he tweeted out the private plane thing and he wasn't actually on a private plane?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Did you see that? Are you familiar with this, Mosquito Jones?
I vaguely remember him doing a lot of cringy shit, but that's a new one to me.
Brittany, pull this shit up because
I'm looking for it.
Please, I have to see this.
Partner, he pulled up. I swear to God, he posted like the first image for private jet from Google Images as if he was doing it, and someone took a picture of him. I believe that the story is, I don't put a lot of synapses to remember the details of Little Bow Wow's life. Although I remember in middle school they used to say that he got raped or whatever, and that's why he was famous, which was such a weird thing. That might have been just my mental. I think at least one of the people in my extended friend circle probably got abused, and that's how we got weird shit like that would come up. Because they said that like his bodyguard raped him and he cried or whatever, and he needed stitches for his butthole. Did y'all not hear that? All right, that was a Union Park Middle School thing for something like they. And pulling up the back massage. It really.
Wait, is this what you're talking about? Bow Wow caught posting on Instagram with photo of private jet while actually flying commercial.
Yeah. That it was that
prove
bad.
It.
Yeah.
Hold on. So this guy Little Bow Wow on my flight did put on Instagram. He put okay. So somebody saw him, but he posted this picture as if he was getting on a private jet. Okay.
Right. And scroll down some and that's the picture he posted, right?
Okay.
And
but then somebody saw him on his phone on that
flight. Yeah. He posted that picture.
Right.
He was on the private flight.
Yeah.
That's him that's the picture of him posting that.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a child star that just never let it go.
Well, I don't blame him, I don't think.
I mean, if you had that much money and didn't have to suffer all the time, like.
Yeah, I mean, they set him up like he was gonna be the next Snoop Dogg or Snoop Dogg's apprentice, basically. But
yeah, true.
Romeo came and dunked on him and then left. Like Romeo came and won the game and left. And just like now I'm over here talking about Bow Wow on a fucking podcast. just to make fun of the guys.
Well, I mean, I think he's another one of them cases like he's had it good enough to be made fun of. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think he was raped, Tim.
well, yeah, honestly, I don't even think that. Well, he might have been.
Let me Google it. Should I not Google that?
Yeah, actually, I think he was assaulted by his bodyguard, but like,
actually, he might have been.
Yeah, I think he was.
Bow Wow allegedly raped as a teenager. Okay. My bad, Bow Wow. Solidarity,
which again,
see this like Bow Wow. I apologize for not believing you. I'm not apologizing for making fun of you. I will continue to do that because.
I mean, wait. if you stop making fun of everybody that ever had anything bad happen to them in their childhood, you have to stop making fun of like a lot of people. Also, none of you can ever make fun of me ever again because my childhood was horrific. I tell a story that I thought was fun, and my guess was I thought that was a funny story about that crackhead going missing because she was bathing and that foot floated up, and I swear to God, y'all, we might be able to find the Channel 13 footage from back in the day because she was interviewed by Channel 13. She's like, I recognize the shoe, and that is just because and then we had a joint funeral for him and that fat uncle that died. We didn't even do
I remember that part. How did he die again?
He had a stroke because he was a crackhead that lived in the woods, and he also was fat as shit and tiny. Like he was really unhealthy, and he was so mean. And one day he had a stroke like a week before and went blind for a week, but he gained his sight back. And he called paramedics. He was so mean to the fucking paramedics when they came.
That's right.
They left him there because he was being so mean to him. And it was the second time that day they'd come out or whatever. He was just so mean. And that finally what killed him. But he survived a stroke that put him in that convalescent home. And so I remember having Easter when I was in high school at that place because my grandma was her baby boys in fucking the nursing home or whatever was like, Grandma, he sold crack out of your house, and like the SWAT team came and raided the house because he was selling, he was trafficking marijuana out of the house, Grandma. And also he's mean as fuck. He'd sleep on a recliner and he'd have the TV on loud as fuck. And he'd be dead asleep. And you'd come in and he'd tell you that he was watching that. Every fucking time.
Why? What's the point of that?
Because
control.
When he was control of the TV, he'd always want control of the TV.
Yeah.
And I remember when he got out of the convalescent home, he ended up having to stay with us at my house because I thought about suffocating him a couple times. I did.
Oh shit!
But I just cannot stress to y'all how fucking mean that man was. Like he was the most hateful. Even when he is incapable of taking care of himself. We're taking care of him. And he is calling me a fat piece of shit, just telling me I'm just being hateful as fuck to me. And I'm thinking to myself, like, Tommy, I'm not a little kid no more. I'm 6'2", 300 pounds. I could just fucking end you right now, Tommy. I could end your fucking life right now, Tommy.
You told him that?
Yes, I told him that.
What did he say?
He's like, fuck you, you're a pussy. You wouldn't do it. And then fucking my mom come out.
You didn't. You are a pussy. You didn't do it.
Well, I did. Well, I tried to kill him once before, and I gave up on it. No, I had the heart. I didn't tell the story on the podcast. I had it in the pool.
I don't think so.
Well,
God.
Maybe I shouldn't talk about it. Instead of that, Mosquito Jones, what video got you viral on TikTok the first time, friend?
Yeah, let's talk about Mosquito Jones.
That's a good question, actually. What's considered viral?
I don't know. What was the first one that went big for you or whatever?
Yeah.
Probably me declaring war on penguins. Because fuck penguins.
All right.
Oh, shit.
All right. I mean, I'm with you, friend. Flightless birds. Abominations from God. They're proof the living God doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Capital cockatoos, fucking tuxedo turkeys, glacier pigeons.
I'm with you. I mean,
some string of comments left by somebody who at some point eventually called me racist, and I'm like, let's lean into this shit and make it weird. Like,
Yeah.
Wait, they called you racist for not liking penguins?
No. He called me a racist for something else, so I still don't know what. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and lean into it. Yeah, I call me a racist. I don't give a fuck. I hate penguins. Fuck them. Fuck them.
All right, yeah, you know.
Yeah,
I don't feel strongly enough of to disagree with you, friend. Either way,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
here's the thing. All right, penguins pretend to be birds that want to go swimming, or they pretend to be fish that want to be birds. That alone irritates me. They live in tuxedos. They stay in one space, but don't do shit to fix it. They do nothing for the environment except for feed seals, and seals get bodied by everything on the planet.
True.
I can't think of a positive about penguins that is not subjective or propaganda because of Morgan Freeman's voice, March of the Penguins,
Happy Feet.
Happy Feet.
That George Miller directed, the guy that did Mad Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, penguins kept us from getting Mad Max Fury Road earlier because he was doing the Happy Feet movies.
I mean, just more reasons.
You gotta pay more for them Happy Feet movies.
He did make more money on the Happy Feet movies, and Happy Feet movies are. But I mean, get you a man who can do both, I guess. But also George Miller, he made penguins look too good. I'm just gonna say, like, George Miller, you ain't been on my podcast, fucker. So I'm gonna have to ride with Mosquito Jones on this one. Penguins.
Yeah, see, I got a cover right there.
And the line at SeaWorld is always way too fucking long to go see them fucking penguins.
It is. They are not that cool.
The whole time. We could have had Willie and Shamu team up for a show, but instead we had to beat the damn penguins.
Yeah.
Why didn't we beat the penguins to the office? Just saying.
You ain't wrong. Plus, they're they kink shame people because they're monogamous forever or whatever.
Oh shit, they are. That's
kink
true.
Shaming people. That's kink shaming people that've been in divorce or whatever. Have you ever had an ex-girlfriend?
And they're shaming America's dumbass adoption policy because gay couple penguins can have eggs. They can go people from penguins.
That's true. That's true. That's just flaunting the gay people that they can't adopt because of right-wing weirdos.
Our flag.
He ain't wrong.
I probably ain't gonna join. You know, if you went Tall Trees Hotel Rwanda on it, I probably won't join in the slaughter of them. But I probably would look the other way. You know,
all I need is Hannibal Buress.
I'm
gonna make the burgers. He can eat the burgers. He already had the plan. I'm just a few years late. That's all.
All right, I'm with you. I mean, I famously been mad about the Chechen government for a long time. You know. But I've never put that on the TikTok because that would get taken down for hate speech, I'm sure. But man, I dislike the Chechen government. They belong to Russia. They should have just fucking let it be. I don't know. It's just. Are you familiar with Chechnya? Don't worry. It's a breakaway province of Russia that had some civil wars and some. But the current strong main of Chechnya, really anti-gay, camps and shit. It's bad. It's fucked up. But if you ever want to listen to some very chilling audio, there's a time where the Russian troops went into Grozny, the capital city, and there's this guy who had the guy in Grozny trained the dude that's coming in, and he's telling him, Victor, pull your men out, you're gonna die and shit, and they did because the Russians the first time they went in oh, you know what? Hold on, I'll be right back, y'all. I'll be right back. I might have a book from the Rand Corporation about this.
Oh God, not from the Rand Corporation. Oh, what's that?
He's going for the bookshelf. I might need to get another beer.
If you want to, go right ahead, man.
Oh no, I gotta go pick somebody else. So I'll have to try.
You can't be getting drunk.
This is all about drunk driving is damn near illegal here as long as you're not poor.
So I recommend a paper. I recommend a paper to all of you from Olga Okolaier from the Rand Corporation.
Well, I thought we're not supposed to trust the Rand Corporation.
Oh no, I mean, no, they service empire. You shouldn't trust them if they told you something's bad. I mean, but this is you familiar with the Rand Corporation, Mosquito Jones?
Mm-mm.
It's basically when they say the deep state, they basically mean shit like that. The Rand Corporation is a think tank. You ever heard of the Pentagon Papers, like Vietnam shit? That's a Rand Corporation study. So the government pays the Rand Corporation to figure out the nuts and bolts of the empire and why shit don't work. But this is Russia's Chechen Wars, 1994 to 2000. It's about the first and second Chechen War, right? And it talks about the tactics of the Chechen fighters and all. And these fellas are fucking... At one point in time, there was these tanks across the river. So some Chechen dudes got RPGs and inner tubes, and they went in the freezing river and used inner tubes to float down the river to get behind the fighting position by the Russians to fire the missiles into the thing. And, I don't think they really talked about what happened to them dudes, but I don't think them dudes made it back from that. But they took an inner tube in the dead of winter to cross, because the Russians would put a tank inside of a building. They drive it into it, which, I mean, we do it too. Everybody does. It's a good way to keep a tank safe from, because infantry can take out tanks fairly easily, even without explosives and shit. The Czechs did it. The Czechs did it in the Prague Spring by doing blankets with fuel on it. You put a blanket, you coat it like petroleum gel, and you throw it on top of the engine. You light it on fire, and it burns up the engine of the tank, and that's a mobility kill. And then the dudes inside have to get out and shit. But the Chechens had a lot more explosives than the Czechs did. But this is a very good little book about difference. I said, like, the Russians here, they would use this incendiary explosive afterwards. So, I mean, it was just, it's a good book. It's a good book.
Damn.
It's a good book. Well, it's not even actually a book. It's just a paper, but it's a
Uncle Big Tim's book club.
Yeah, this one, saying this one out loud probably just got us on a reading list.
Oh, shit.
Damn it.
But it probably just got us on some kind of list. But, well.
If it helps anyone, I am completely unreliable in a wartime situation.
I mean, who isn't, friend?
Yeah.
Who isn't? Who isn't?
I don't think we are either.
I don't think any of the three. I mean, I've been shot at before, and it was unpleasant, but I don't think I could do getting shot at by people who's actually like good at aiming and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't got the knees for war. I ain't. I'm wore out from taking. What was that?
There's a lot of people who think they are, but don't understand the war itself is not a joke. Like, it's not.
Oh,
it's
no.
not all fighting. Most of it is digging trenches and shit.
Yeah, and also, I mean, recently I was reading about the siege of Sarajevo in the 90s, right? When we intervened, we bombed the Serbs and shit. And I was reading about the people in Sarajevo, because there's an Airbnb over there where you can get the whole experience, like the war, and the guy fought in the war and shit. And he takes you to a tunnel, because there was a tunnel that they dug to get stuff into the city and shit, right? And you can visit the tunnel, the entrance to it and the exit to it. Like, you can visit it. It's a museum and shit. And, this very, like, secular city that, well, secular, but it had a large Muslim population, did hold its own and shit. But, the Serbs were in the hilltop. It's just, they made do with so much shit. But I was reading this in this art magazine about the different things they made out of shit, like the scrap and all, and they took some roller skates and they made a luggage cart for milk crates out of the roller skates. And it's just this whimsical thing, and it's set up. It's because the goddamn Serbs would have snipers, and it's a horrific thing, but it's just a testament to people's will and all. Also, I was looking for ideas in case it comes to America, so I figure,
Oh my God.
yeah. Not to be too pessimistic, y'all, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to have some ravioli stocked up,
After this pandemic, I'm with you, dude. Get some ravioli, get some toilet paper.
I got the styrofoam. And I can drive for a living, so I got plenty of gasoline. I just need
you do need to drink more, friend. Because you cut living? You cut grass for a living, friend?
Mm-hmm.
In Alabama, that's fucking hot.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm built for it. I don't know if y'all noticed it, but I'm black.
I know. Friend. Yeah, I did notice because I don't see color or whatever. That's just because my iPad settings are fucked up. This whole time I thought you were a white guy on TikTok, man. I didn't know.
Ain't no problem. I occasionally let the cornbread come out my voice to confuse people in public. There's nothing quite like turning around in the line and seeing this face matched with this accent, especially when asking about something silly. Hi, can you pass me that screwdriver? This is Wendy's motherfucker. Yeah, so.
If you asked me to pass you a ratchet strap while we was in a Winn-Dixie, I would lose my fucking mind. I would fucking laugh so goddamn hard. The pandemic has removed people approaching me in Winn-Dixies talking weird shit. The last remember one I had was a guy. He saw that there was kosher ice cream, and he was just like, "Jews need separate ice cream to me." and I looked at him and I said, "Well, kosher is a whole thing. It's a better treatment of cow and all." And he was not expecting that reaction. He got real confused. But I was taken aback because I had to ask him what he said. He repeated it again, and I was like, and I was staring at dog ice cream, man. Because they have original and peanut butter flavor, and I've done this as a bit on stage before. But what the fuck is original flavor dog ice cream?
Vanilla, I guess, or dog food. Yeah, you're right.
Spam.
Bacon.
Spam? You think it's spam?
No, it can't be.
I don't know.
I don't like right. And here's the thing, y'all. They're called Pup Cup or Paul Cups or something.
I think
you find them in grocery
cups.
store.
Yeah.
The Pup Cups I think it's Pup Cups, but Pup Cups I think might also be a trademark name. But the thing about them is, every Wendy's I've ever been to that has it, they have a handwritten sign that says "Not for human consumption" put next to it. So you're not supposed to eat them. So if y'all do try it, you let me know what the original flavor is or whatever.
Oh, you're saying you want other people to try it?
I don't want to. Do y'all want to try it?
I'm a pass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, here's the thing, Brittany, you gonna chop this up to TikTok? Some dipshit on TikTok will do it, and then we'll get to know the data. It can't hurt them. I'm sure it can't hurt them.
Yeah,
I'm sure they just have to put that there for legal reasons. It can't.
But here's the thing. Why do they have to put "not for human consumption"? It probably is for human consumption. But listen to this dumbass story. My dad, when we were a kid, we had a dog, right? And we would get these treats, right? They just look like pieces of bacon, right?
Yeah, bacon strips. Everybody knows bacon strips.
My dad would always come in and eat one and be like, "Man, this is the best beef jerky I ever had." Like he's serious. And they'd be like, "Oh no, Dad, that's dog treats or whatever." And he would legitimately get mad that it was dog treats. Not playing a dad joke. He would legitimately get mad. But I'm like, he does that he did that 10 times in my childhood. And I'm like, when do you learn? Are you telling the truth? Are you lying?
There's a dog on the front of the bag.
I know. So he has to be doing a dad joke. So why is he mad when we're like, "Dad, there's a dog treats"? I still can't figure out why. If he was really mad, because
acting,
or just being like a dad. But that's not my dad. He doesn't do dad jokes.
Do you think?
I mean, maybe he was trying that time and just failing too miserably. He never tried again.
Well, I mean, he got mad at y'all and laughed at the fucking joke. He's like, you hecklers. He treated you like a heckler. He's like Steve Hofstetter or whatever.
I don't know, man. I think he really was that dumb, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, have you ever tried one?
No.
None of y'all have ever tried a bacon strip? Really? I have. Yeah, I was about to say, come on.
Really? Y'all tried one of these?
Yeah, he's a goddamn man in the South, and he's done it. One of your buddies, you did as a kid. I don't think you probably did as an adult, right?
I was about to say,
I don't imagine it was like last week. You was just scarfing them down, just fucking having a sausage.
It says made with real meat. Number one ingredient.
27 when I ate my first bacon strip. It was completely unprompted. No one asked me to do it. I just got curious. When I popped open one bag, it smelled a little bit too good, and I had to know what the consistency of this fake bacon was. It was not, as I thought, like bacon bits. Nor was it, as I thought, beef jerky. It's like really, really, really sturdy gristle.
It is. It is that. It's not.
Ew.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not
It's
good.
not- yeah.
It's there.
Like, Jack got that whooped all day. Slim Jim
It's
got
there.
that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Slim Jim. Well, Slim. Yes, but I mean, 27 is.
I'm gonna be dumb forever. Just gonna be honest with you. I'm aware of how intelligent I am, which is why I'm comfortable being dumb. And
I mean, I had one at 27, but we had one. Me and a roommate of mine tried one because we got some, like we got some that shit was basically unseasoned beef jerky. It was because he'd shop at the food thrift store, and they get the fucking high end. We got two of them down here. We got a Saks and we got United Against Poverty. It's all the expired. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know the ones.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a cheat code, man. It really is.
That shit. This shit is. If you don't know, right? People that were listening, there's places that will sell you expired groceries or almost expired or dented cans and shit. And like the shit that says the shit they say is expired, it's like it never really goes bad. Well, it goes bad, but like it's like cereal bar. It's not bad. It's perfectly fine to eat that shit. They're just trying to get you to buy more of it. You know what I mean? And you can get the shit for a fraction. And sometimes you'll get up there and you'll get like the one by up here. They get the Trader Joe's like lunch meals, or not Trader Joe's, but Whole Foods. They're like carrot grab and go shit. They get it the next day. So you got a day old sandwich, but it's from a damn Whole Foods, man. That's a fancy sandwich. I had now I did get a snack wrap or a Caesar wrap from them one time, but it was a little later than it should have, and I ate in that thing that made me puke. But that was my own fault. That was my own fault. I shouldn't have. I knew that one was. It wasn't. It was the lettuce on it had turned into like that like string lettuce. It just basically turns into like a wet like dog hair after a while. You know what I'm talking about? It had been. I didn't have air conditioning in the car, so I drove home from the way home with that thing. So I drove about 20 minutes in the Florida heat because I got stuck in traffic. It's like close to 20, 30 minutes. And it got hot. And when I got home, because it went from cold to hot, and I ate the fucking thing. And again, this is on me, y'all. It's not on the United Against Poverty's food thing. This was, if I had ate that thing cold in there, it would have been fine. But like it went from hot, it went from cold to real hot to lukewarm in the house. Yeah, that's on me. That's on me.
Yeah.
But they'll go in there. I remember I bought a case of MREs that were low sodium for $20.
Damn.
I know. They had a pallet of them. You go in there and they'll get a whole bunch of the big bags of Doritos that say not for sale on them, the white ones. Like the food service kind, y'all familiar? Well,
I think yeah.
You do long. You seen them on set, I'm guessing, where it's like the big industrial bags and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have them from like conventions will give it out or whatever. I don't fucking know why they have half the shit they have, and sometimes they'll have just the weirdest frozen shit, man. Just the weird, because they get a lot of the fancy food up there. And I remember like it was vegan Indian food. I don't know, man. That shit was good, but we got some dog treats up there that were like organic, grass-fed, free-range beef or bison dog treats that were originally like $8 a bag. He got them for $1.50. We tried one. It was
unseasoned beef jerky.
It was unseasoned beef jerky. Yeah, it was just It was just. But now bacon strips, that's bacon that's been reformed into a.
It really is.
That's what. Just pork fat put together.
Yeah, it's pork fat with the That's all it. That's basically a mix. And they add a crude protein from mostly probably peas in there or something.
Let me see. There's so much shit in here: pork, barley, rice, ground wheat, oatmeal,
barley and rice. There you go.
Barley and rice, yeah.
But does it say crude protein as an ingredient?
No, I don't see that.
And it might be too priceless for that shit.
Yeah, maybe. My dogs are going. They love the shit. I'm surprised they're not like surrounding me right now that I have this bag. Because usually, anytime I kind of crinkle something.
Well, now don't tease them.
See ya?
Don't taunt them.
Nah, they know. They're like, you're doing something weird over there. Plus, I got the desk up. They're scared of the standing desk.
True. I don't blame them. I'm scared of it too. She got a standing desk, Mosquito.
Because my hips hurt.
That's
I have
fair.
pain in my hips.
That's fair.
Well, hell, I'm at my friend's house. I didn't get that goddamn radiator replaced yet. Normally I'd have my whole set with my fucking wing-backed leather chair that makes me look like I'm in a damn Pablo Escobar-style prison.
Spoiler alert, though, the chair broke. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it.
It's just
the one
It's
leg.
iconic. All right.
It's my own fault. I was fucking
all right.
moving around. I was moving around and the leg got caught on the carpet and shit.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It happened.
Yeah.
It does. It does happen. Well, I got bare concrete walls, right? So the background of the podcast is bare concrete wall. I'm not at home. I'm at Amber's house. That's why I got the Ralph Steadman back there. But at home, so it does kind of give it like a. I've had multiple people ask me on live if I was in jail. Which, I'm doing it from a fucking wing-backed real leather chair I got from a rich friend of mine. So it's kind of like, do you think prisoners get to have just...
You're in the rich prison with the podcast studio.
Yeah.
And that fancy mic. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I mean, you're like an excellent prison radio DJ.
Wait, one more time?
Yeah, what'd you say?
One more time?
Excellent prison radio DJ.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Could be.
I could see that.
They do have somebody doing that, don't they? Don't they have somebody that reads it? At least in Orange is the New Black, they have like a...
I doubt they have a DJ.
A person that like reads stuff over the intercom. Like, it's cool.
Are y'all familiar with JPay?
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you told me about JPay. It's the jail payment.
Florida's switching to that shit for the letters. So now in Florida, when you send somebody a letter, they're going to take the letter, print it out, and give it to the prisoner instead of just giving them the handwritten letter.
Damn.
And because the Constitution doesn't matter in Florida if you're poor and in prison. Like, it just...
True.
You know what I mean? Like, we have a senator, man, Rick Scott, our senator, is a Medicare fraud to the tune of $2.2 billion. Where he said he didn't recognize his name 75 times in a deposition. He played the Fifth Amendment 75 times.
I think I saw the
He
video
said he didn't
of that.
recognize his signature. I made you play the video that one time.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't matter here. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We just passed a law that said you can't have more than 9 people at a protest, or it's a felony if property damage happens.
Yep. Did they pass that?
Yeah, it passed.
Damn.
We also just passed this thing. Just the Florida legislator, which I got to quit talking so much shit about it before I fucking end up in a goddamn in Rayford.
Yeah.
They're so blatantly corrupt with shit. So the unemployment in Florida is dirt low. It's $275 a week, right? Enough that the governor, when he got told that, asked if that was correct still. There's this great clip of Ron DeSantis thinking that it's higher and his advisor telling him it's not, right? And y'all never seen it?
I don't think so.
Oh, God. Type it in real quick, Bert, see if you can pull it up. But
What am I typing in? Rick Scott, what?
Ron DeSantis unemployment, $275 a week. See if that pulls it up. I'm
gonna grab another beer if y'all don't mind. Be right back.
Grab another beer.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap up here soon because goddamn, we've been at it long enough. I think.
Yeah, I gotta go back to work. I'm supposed to be on the clock right now.
We're not, doing that CNN thing.
Yeah, we've been getting our CNN on.
Yeah.
Well, we got the unemployment fund in Florida. It's supposed to, when it gets dipped down, the tax on the fee employers pay is supposed to go up. instead of doing that, they just passed a thing to take internet sales tax. So that customers are going to pay, they're going to replenish this thing. The legislator, but I mean, shit, we had this fund for sugar reclamation, like land that was used for sugar to buy it back for the Everglades, and they just haven't done anything with it yet. They just don't do it, I mean, well, we gave the felons the right to vote, but then now you got to pay off all your fines before you can vote.
I didn't know that. Holy shit.
Yeah,
all your court costs will be paid off. And when you can get out, sometimes there's some jails in Florida that charge you to be in jail.
Oh my God, for real?
Yeah. Seminole County used to charge, I think it was $7.50 a day or some stupid shit. It was low and it went up. It's
damn. Okay, here's what I see. Governor Ron DeSantis says Florida's maximum $275 unemployment benefit is fine and rejected by partisan efforts.
And it's at a press conference from last year, like when the pandemic first happened.
Oh, okay.
And that'll be the thing we end on. Y'all got to see him fucking.
Yeah. This is what you're talking about, right? We're all going to be paying more when we shop online and we get nothing back in return. I find that surprising. Politicians used to not do things like this. This is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that we're paying more for the sales tax. But when Florida first had to cope, we'll find another time. I'll put it on goddamn TikTok or whatever.
All right.
I'll tag both of you. I'll find it. It's just so comical that he's like, you sure it's not higher? And it's just,
it's okay.
He went to Yale.
Yeah, all these people they're like, I went to Yale or Princeton. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. Dodos go to Yale and Princeton.
It's not that they're stupid. They're in on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess I meant dodos.
Yeah, well, I feel you. With the Ivy League exists that's basically the CIA's fucking farm league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, but the last thought here, and we'll let you go, Mosquito Jones, which we appreciate you coming on, friend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tucker Carlson. Sorry, it turned into just me telling you my origin story. Apparently,
I didn't know this. Didn't know these things about you. I'm kind of glad I do now. I know who to call.
Anderson Cooper and Tucker Carlson both worked for the CIA in college.
Yeah.
Look into it, Mosquito Jones.
Or TikTok.
A lot of dots just connected right there.
Yeah.
They're also both heirs to fortunes, right? Yeah. So they've got a vested interest in the empire, right? But now that you know that, it makes the shit Tucker Carlson saying make a little more sense, right?
I mean, I always knew something was up with them, but I thought it was just legitimately that dumb. No, he's not.
He's just a propaganda machine.
That's a he scares the shit out of me too.
His anger scares the shit out of me. He gets angry, or at least he puts on that he gets angry.
What scares me is that he's not mad. That's what scares me.
Yeah.
Yeah. He knows how to manipulate an audience.
Sean Hannity's mad.
Yeah.
Sean Hannity gets mad at shit. Yeah. Sean Hannity is stupid and just got lucky with that shit. Sean Hannity believes the shit he says, right? Tucker Carlson, I don't know. I hate to bring up the Rwandan genocide twice in one episode, but if there's anybody that would ever do a tall trees on TV in America, it'd be Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. He's literally he'll say anything. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
sometimes I check in on him and I'm like, what the fuck?
for listeners that don't know, Google tall trees and you'll. It's been a recurring theme of my podcast shit for a long time. As I've talked about, I've been shit. Even on Poking the Bear, we used to. Well, the one guy turned into a recurring bit, but genocide can happen. It's not. It can be it's a straw that breaks the camel's back, but sometimes it's a whole bale of straw all at once. It's it's and people say things can't happen here or whatever, like, or we're different and all that. We're not any different. We're not any different.
No, we're headed down a bad way.
We was always down a bad, but so, and this I have been thinking, but what I'm scared of is those people know they're going to be a minority soon, right? They'll still be the largest minority, right? But there's some of them, like me, I really don't give a fuck if I end up being a minority. If I end up being a minority majority in this country, it's like, all right, I'm going to get treated the way I treat black people. Like, someone's going to start talking to me about country music they don't really understand in the parking lot of the goddamn Food Max. Is that what's going to happen? You know what I mean? Like, is that what's going to happen? But to them, they don't see it like that. And like these state legislators are passing shit that's just, yeah,
scary. It's like we were talking about the school board. It's like, now what do I got to do? Quit my job to, like, I have to go around these people? I have to go behind them, make sure they don't win all these local seats?
See, like, every time I hear about the situation, I like want to run for an office, and then I remembered I am not qualified. We got to find people who can do this shit.
But I disagree, though. Why aren't you qualified?
I am fucking deranged.
Okay. Yeah, but Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, I'm not even Marjorie Taylor Greene. I want to pause with complete seriousness. Is there anything? Is it even if you were being serious about the penguin thing? Is that any more deranged than anything Mitch McConnell's ever done? What is your, when you say your derangement? Unless we're finding out things about you, you're telling more about yourself, and there might be somebody chained up in your basement like a goddamn Austrian daddy. You know what I mean? Like, you got your granddaughter underneath the fucking floorboards that has a beak for a face or whatever because of genetic experiments that maybe are deranged. But if you're talking about anything other than abject cruelty and making industrial cruelty, why wouldn't you be qualified, friend?
Yeah,
that's fair. There's also the fact that you're profoundly lazy. So,
listen, I'm with you on that. Listen, friend, I know goddamn well if I ever really got off my ass, it wouldn't be a thing no more. Yeah, they just don't do like.
Yeah,
I'm
they're counting on us being lazy though.
Well, and I'm cool with that because I'm going to be lazy because if you're listening to this, special agent that is assigned to check up on my social media after I start, I'm not doing shit. I'm staying fat. You ain't gonna worry about me. Don't worry.
Me too. Worry. I want to be Luke Skywalker, but it ain't happening anytime soon. I'm 36 years old. I don't think it's happening.
Right.
No, I want to be John Candy, y'all. If liberation happens, government, you listening? You make me John Candy, I'll stop talking all this shit. I'll stop talking all that shit.
Yeah. But John Candy died. Dude, fuck that.
Yeah, but John Candy also fucking. He was eating a steak a day and smoking 2 packs of cigarettes, and he drank like 3 bottles of wine and shit.
True.
If I get into Hollywood movies, we gotta let our guests go. You gotta get back to work and shit. But appreciate you coming on, friend.
It's been fun.
Yeah, ain't no problem.
Next time I'll let you talk more. The next time we'll have you on when Sean's here, and I won't be here, and y'all can, and then you can be the talkative one.
Sean's good at turning you off, dude.
I had a ball, man. I've learned a lot about it today. It was great. I also got to maintain my mysterious appearance. So who knows?
You're not wrong, man. When you do the fucking, you come on and you got the towel around your in the bathroom thing. Shit cracks me the fuck up, man. I fucking because I'll be real, listeners. I don't spend a lot of time actually consuming TikToks because it's usually either just abject suffering or women shaking their ass for me, and again, I'm cool with the one, but like there's sometimes it's just like I don't want to have to learn how to make pipe bombs. You know what I mean? If I keep my eyes open to the goddamn pain and suffering that keeps going across my thing, I just don't really, you know what I mean? It makes me, it's just like there's too much of this, And then the ass shaking thing, it's like I'm just enough profile now that I'll be a sex pest or whatever. I can't be fucking following 23-year-old girls.
Yeah.
I'm 10
people
years
like
older.
me calling out.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. Exactly. You would.
I go straight. If people are talking shit, I go straight to see who they're following. And if you're only following women, I'm calling you out on that shit.
That's why I keep it mixed. I keep it mixed so I can get away with it. There's a couple of them. There's this one black girl that does Sailor Moon cosplays. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I want her to be the reason why I die. Like if they
I think everyone needs a TikTok crush. Like this, it's kind of inevitable to be honest. There's plenty of.
Oh my! I don't think I've ever actually heard her actual voice. I only have a crush on the goddamn the 30-second clip or where I mean like I don't know if she's real into that Sailor Moon and I'm not that particularly into anime. You know what I mean? So like I don't know if we have much to talk about other than her, but.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's best to just keep it that way. I just keep it as a, that 30-second thing comes by everywhere. I put the heart on there and I don't watch more than once, I just.
So you tell us.
Don't check the analytics on that one.
Yeah.
Don't make me a liar, TikTok.
Like, views came from one person. I just left the phone on overnight, I promise.
Well, one time, this will have to be the thing we got to end on, but I was uploading a video and my internet cut out. And it was one of you were doing something with the fucking, it was a very short clip of you doing the fucking towel thing with the light bulb, right?
Oh, yeah.
You do that a lot, a decent amount, but that, I got distracted and that video, I swear to God, played on my phone. You kept doing that clip because I was distracted and left my phone up for like a good 5 minutes or something. And I couldn't remember because you didn't talk a lot in that particular video. Right. And it was around a time, either way, but I kept wondering and I finally figured out that it was my fucking phone with the TikTok open. I didn't close the phone because I was like, what the fuck is happening? But, yeah,
just.
I swear I think he was. You come on and you said something about you got to make a dip. You got to do something different. It was a very short clip that played seriously on repeat for a while with the volume down just enough, and I was not paying attention to something else going on. I think the door had went on. We got to go, friends.
I was going to say real quick, I'll jump in just so everybody knows because I run the Radicalizing Rednecks account. I'll jump into, if any of y'all are live, like you too, Mosquito Jones, I'll jump in your lives just so you have an extra number and I'll just I'll turn my phone down and just leave it there to help you guys out. I don't know if it helps, but.
Actually, what would help me is capturing some of the stuff that I do because I'm not going to do it. So feel free to give any footage or music or whatever else, capture it and put it to use because, again, profoundly lazy.
Well, I mean, goddamn, you cut yards in the Alabama sun all fucking day. I don't blame you for being lazy when you get done cutting a fucking yard, friend.
Yeah.
I spent 2 hours working that fucking truck and I was almost like, man, I don't know if I'll be able to do this tonight. So I do that all the time. Again, but you being lazy on an app designed for children by the goddamn Chinese Communist Party to get us separated like cause division in America. So,
It's a good one.
Mr. Xi Jinping, come save me, please. I won't say Taiwan's a country.
A PFT Media production.